Hello everybody, my name is Philipp Storz and in this video I want to show you the Bareos Proxmox plugin in action. I will demonstrate how to backup and restore Proxmox guests. The plugin handles both virtual machine and container guests. First I want to give you a quick overview over my lab environment. We have a Proxmox virtual environment server version 9 with 2 guests. The first guest is a virtual machine running Alma Linux and has the guest ID 100. The second guest has the guest ID 101 and is a container guest running Rocky Linux. As the plugin works agentless, it would also work with any other VM or container guest that can run on Proxmox, like for example a Windows machine. In order to have short backup and restore times for this demo, the guests have only a minimal OS installation. While the Bareos system is performing backups or restores, we will watch the Proxmox virtual environment web interface. On the left side, both guests can be seen. On the bottom of the screen, the task logs can be watched. The backup and restore operation will be initialized and executed via the Bareos console. Also, the console will show us the backup logs and the restore logs, of course, also. Now let us start by showing the backup and restore of a virtual machine type guest. Let us now have a look at the configuration that allows us to backup the virtual machine with the guest ID 100. The important part is the plugin definition. Inside of the plugin definitions, you see that the Bareos FD Proxmox plugin should get the plugin options and that the guest ID to be backed up is the guest ID with the ID 100. Now let us perform a backup of the virtual machine. When the backup is executed, first a checkpoint of the running virtual machine is created and the backup can be viewed in the job log and also in the Proxmox web interface. Now let's switch to the Proxmox web interface and also to the Bareos console. Now let us switch to the Proxmox virtual environment web interface and to the Bareos console and let us execute the job. We now run a full backup of the guest with the guest ID 100, which is a virtual machine. A snapshot of the virtual machine will be created and the virtual machine will be backed up. Please watch the task log at the bottom of the Proxmox interface. So the backup job is already complete and we have created a backup of the virtual machine now. Now that we have created a backup of the virtual machine, we also want to create a restore of it. As preparation for the restore of the virtual machine, I will shut down the virtual machine now, and after the shutdown I will delete the virtual machine from the Proxmox server. Virtual machine is now being shut down. And now I'm removing the virtual machine with the virtual ID 100 and all disks and everything that has been referenced also. As you can see, the virtual machine with the guest ID 100 has been shut down and destroyed. The next step is to perform a restore in order to recreate the virtual machine that we have just backed up and destroyed. Now we perform the restore of the previously created backup. Therefore, we select all files that are available in the restore. have selected all files that are available for restore and will now execute the recovery of the virtual machine. While the recovery runs, please also watch the task log at the bottom of the web interface of Proxmox, and also you can see that inside of the Proxmox data center view on the left side, the virtual machine with the ID 100 will be recreated. In the task list, you now can see that a restore is being executed, and on the left side you already see that the VM with the ID 100 has been recreated. The restore already is complete and the virtual machine reappeared on the left side. The only thing left to do now is to start the machine and verify that the machine is able to start up and run again. As you can see, the virtual machine has been recreated and is running again. The restore of the virtual machine now is complete. Now let's have a look how the Proxmox plugin handles container guests. So the next thing to do is that we want to back up the container that we have already also running here in our Proxmox installation. And the container has, as we already know, the ID 101. The fileset plugin definition only differs in the guest ID that is specified to be backed up. The plugin handles both virtual machines and container guests. And as you can see, the only difference to the file set we had before is that the guest ID specified now is the number 101. Now let's perform a backup of the container. Now let's get started. We run a full backup of the guest with the ID 101. Please watch the log at the bottom of the Proxmox interface while the backup is executed. As you can see, the backup already is completed and the backup also is visible in the tasks log. The next step again is to shut down the container and delete it from Proxmox via the GUI, which I will do now. The container that we just backed up now just has been removed, and the next step is to run the restore of this container and to recreate it inside of Proxmox. The restore job is started by selecting the last backup of this container job. When restoring a container guest, it is required to specify the storage where the container should be saved to. This is a limitation of the Proxmox recovery tool for containers. Here in our environment, the storage where we want to store to has the name local-lvm. The specification for the restore storage is given to the plugin as plugin parameter pct storage, and our storage, as already shown, is local LVM, and we want to create an 8 GB disk. We now need to change the plugin definition for the restore, which we do with modify, and we say we want to change the plugin options. And now I have to set the plugin string like this: pct storage equals local LVM, and I have to escape the column that tells the recovery tool to create an 8 GB disk inside of this storage. The plugin options now are set, and we can start with the recovery of the container guest. While the container is being recreated, please watch the task log and also the left side of the data center view so that you can see that the container is being recreated. So the recovery of the container has been successfully completed, and now we can start up the container and verify that the container is running. As you can see, the container has been recreated and is running again. The restore of the container guest has been successful. I also want to highlight some of the features that the Proxmox plugin offers. One of them is to recover via Proxmox GUI. This is done by adding the plugin parameter restore to disk, and if that is set, instead of recovering directly into a virtual machine or into a container, it will restore it to the local disk, and then the backup is also visible there, and the machine can be recovered via the Proxmox GUI. Another option of the Proxmox plugin is that the guest can be recovered to a different guest ID. This can be achieved by giving the plugin parameter guest ID equals and then specifying the new guest ID that you want. Of course, the guest ID needs to be free inside of the Proxmox machine. Another option is that we can overwrite existing guests, and this can be done by specifying the plugin parameter force equals yes. Let us have a quick review of what we did in this video so far. We performed a backup and a restore of a virtual machine guest. We performed a backup and a restore of a container guest. And also we talked about other features of the Proxmox plugin. The complete documentation of the Bareos Proxmox plugin is part of the Bareos documentation available at docs.bareos.org. If you want to try the Bareos Proxmox plugin yourself, you can fill in the form on bareos.com/try and get evaluation access to our binaries. We regularly hold online meetings with our Bareos experts. Register for the next meeting on bareos.com/meet. If you want to become part of our open source community, please check bareos.com/community. Bareos is 100% open source software. You can access the source code on github.com/bareos. I would like to conclude this video with an overview of our services. Backing up and production environment requires more than just the software. We at Bareos understand this very well. This is why we offer a variety of services to our customers. The Bareos subscription gives you access to certified and maintained binaries of the last 3 main releases. Our support offerings allow you to have a direct contact to our Bareos support experts. The support team is closely linked to our development team and can quickly handle any type of problem. If you require services that go beyond the scope of support, our consultants are available to assist you. The broad knowledge of our consultants allow you to help you with the planning and integration of Bareos in your environment. If a required functionality is not yet available in Bareos, we are able to carry out the necessary development work through our sponsored development program. With our training program, we ensure that administrators can do their work efficiently and quickly, and that Bareos can play to its strength in your environment. Thank you very much for watching.